Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett here. We are doing some coding. It's a Saturday morning. Apparently, Windows thinks I need to know about upcoming earnings today. So I'm not exactly sure how warm it is, but would think it's probably right at 70 degrees. Right at 70 degrees Fahrenheit would be my guess. So yeah. So yesterday at the end of my video, I went to go upload it on let's see. Let's try to do something to change Rhett's environment. See if we can distract her. So I noticed this person. I'm not. I should have paid more attention to who it was because it might be someone that I interact with every once in a while. But anyways, somebody had asked, "Hey, can you please push your code?" They were very, gosh, so respectful, so nice. If you're watching this right now, I truly appreciate you and how nice you were. Um, and I was like, it was kind of too late. I had to go to work, and then I forgot after work. But I was kind of like, oh man, I'm not quite ready to push it because, I kind of came up with this rule where I didn't want to push anything unless I knew that unless I had my coverage, my desired code coverage and my Cypress, my end-to-end tests working. And that was kind of part of it. And it made me think how like there is sort of this interesting sort of dynamic because there's a lot of people who believe, and I think this is a great belief that like you should commit early and often. And then there's sort of this other thing which isn't directly in conflict with it, but there's like another concept of every commit should be like something that you could comfortably roll back to. So like because the problem is a lot of times you you have a commit and then you find out, oh my gosh, there's something really really bad about this commit and we need to roll back. And it's nice to just be able to roll back to the last commit instead of go, oh no no no, that one doesn't have this and it's broken, so let's go to, like it's like it doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, you're kind of in a panic state. So it's nice to be able to stabilize yourself very quickly. So now I think that today I can get this done, but I didn't want to like really stress myself about that because, like that is not the point of this. So if I can't get it done today, what I'll do is I'll create another branch, and then I'll commit on that branch. So what I'll do is I'll make a commit on this branch. I'll create another branch. I'll push that other branch for the person who wants it. And then I'll go back to this branch, undo the commit, and then just keep going on this one. I think that is probably the best approach to do something like that. And that does come up. There'll be times where you want to work with other people and you've gotten to a point where they can start their work, like, so let's say you're a front end and they're a back end and your stuff's not all ready to roll, so you're not really ready to actually have like a legit commit, but you're kind of blocking them from doing their work without the code that you have. So that's a good approach. But anyway, so the first thing I've noticed is that we got layout service, but I'm working on visualization service. So apparently, at some point, I did a rename, refactored to visualization over layout. Don't remember that, but But it looks like the answer is to actually change the name in the describe. So let's go. Let's go. And we're there. And then we hit save. And I shouldn't make any difference, but you know, you would think that over here now we'll see visualization service, and it is doing it. And yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and go look at our code coverage. Usually I have this up and running for you guys, but I guess it's good. So inside of your, if you have the coverage flag set, inside of here you should get a coverage folder right at the top of your folder, and then inside of that will be the name of your project. And there's an index file, and you can just drag that right onto a browser. Now, oddly enough, if you try to drag it onto this browser here, it gives this about blank blocked. That's weird. But if you drag it onto a new tab that doesn't have anything on it, then it lets you, which is very, very strange. So visualization. This is our coverage of our service. So apparently we do not create any visualizations, and it's not it's tricky because it needs a viz component. So yeah, yesterday I was feeling really good, like we'd be able to do this, but now I'm not sure if it's going to be very, very easy to actually get this thing unit tested. Now we do get 100%, so somewhere we are running. See, I think this one happens by all rights if you just run it straight up. So it was kind of on a side effect, because this is actually the more difficult thing. So so I would imagine whenever we got, like, whatever we spent a bunch of time on this, which apparently we did, getting things working, had we done what I just did now, we would have been able to snap it out like that. But now we kind of have to rebuild and re-understand everything. I think that it should be pretty easy to use. We should just start with the easiest first. It looks like Reese is too wide will be the easiest one. And see, that one's set to private, so I don't know if we'll be able to get access to it directly. We probably won't. I suspect. So we're going to create our test or specification or spec. It's kind of weird because, and I am deeply analyzing things that I wouldn't even make my radar, and I don't want it to come off accusatory or like I don't. But so kind of like, I don't know. Don't take this there's no blame in this. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm observing something, and something is happening, and it's nobody's fault. It's just an observation of the way I'm reacting to certain stimuluses around me. Those stimuluses, no one's to blame. So I don't want to blame the person who made the comment, but that did actually inject some stress in my life, and I didn't even realize it because I'm like, oh, I got to get this done. So now suddenly I've lost that whole like sort of calm, hey, now I'm creating a specification and all that. I'm trying to get myself back into that mindset, even though like there's someone waiting on me right now. But again, the person who's waiting on me and who said, hey, can you please update this? Like, they did nothing wrong. That's actually, they did me a huge favor, because I didn't realize that when someone says they're waiting on me, that I get this extra sort of like chaos in my brain, like it's good to know about that. But anyway, so we're going to create a spec, and we're going to pass in its what was that called? It's expectation, which is a textual description of what this. So we'll pass in its expectation, and the expectation is it will test test if too foo too wide. And I don't think I'll be able to do it. So let's do that. And then I'm going to say service dot is, see, I can't get to it. Now I believe there's some sort of hack where you can go like this. At least there used to be. Yeah, so you could do that, and I believe that will work for private things, but I don't want to do that. Let's see, how do we test if it's too wide? Where does it get called from? Does it get called from this set calculated positions? I don't know where this thing even gets called from. Okay, so it gets called by this set calculated positions. It gets passed in, and then to this guy, and then this guy must set calculated positions. Then it takes it in as this, and then it gets called here. So basically we need to call set calculated. We need to create the visualization, and I think it will automatically get called, maybe. Yeah, it will automatically get called when it gets to here. So we need to create a visualization. So do we create a visualization? See here, we actually unit test set calculations, and we mock is too wide. So it should create a so I don't know if we should change this to like if should test create should create a new visualization, and I guess instead maybe, yeah, create a new visualization. And then I think we can, let's just go with constant creating our visualization ID. Well, okay, so when we actually create a renderer ID, and it'll create its own visualization ID. And then does it ever return anything? Oh, it returns the visualization ID. So we actually can't create a visualization ID. So this is more like on the ST side. And yeah, that makes sense because this is not in the 3 side. So we're going to get our visualization ID. But before we can do that, we need a renderer. And we need an ST renderer. So I think we're going to have to inject a renderer. The renderer service to hash service. I think we're going to have to bring in the renderer service. So we're going to do something along the lines of this. Let renderer service, and let's just see if this works. Renderer service. So I'm just sort of going by the seat of my pants here, and it just brought that in for us. And are we happy with where it brought it in? I am. I think that's a good place for it to bring it in. And then I guess we want to do this renderer service. Man, this testbed thing is kind of nice. Testbed inject, and this will create. I think this will either create a renderer service, or it will give us the renderer service that we already have if we had one for some reason. Which I think in this case it'll actually create one. So now we have a renderer service. So I'm going to say const renderer ID is equal to renderer service dot create renderer. And apparently create renderer needs something. It looks like we get to make our own renderer ID for that. Now the problem is I don't think we want equal to. I don't think we want. I think we could run into a problem if our visualization ID is equal to our renderer ID. I don't think it's a problem at this point, but I think in the future it might be a problem. So I'm going to start my renderer ID at 100. It shouldn't matter. Now what I could do is I could get the recyclable service, and then I think this would make sure that we never get a collision. Now, what would be really interesting to know is, will they use the same singleton recyclable service? I bet they will. I bet you it's the same one. So I could do that. But I think 100 is going to be fine. Renderer ID. Oh, it's not. And then we don't need this. And we need this. Because we already know the render ID. Now we're just saying, in some ways we're saying like create a renderer for render ID 100 is what we're really doing. And now we want a viz component. Do we ever create a viz component? I think that's what this is, right? So let's make a new mock viz. I'll be very interested to see if like in 10 videos I'm like, why didn't I do dry? Why didn't I make sure that dry isn't? It looks like we need a, why did I copy this? That was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. Maybe not. We'll see. Looks like we got some that, and so we got this, and then I think we have enough to create our visualization, to execute our visualization. So const visualization ID is equal to create service dot create visualization, and it wants our render ID, and our viz component. No. Okay, did we also create? So the visual, is this not, okay, so this is a visualization, not a viz component. Let's see. So somewhere in my unit tests, I think I must mock a viz component. Or maybe actually, probably what was happening before is it was running in that viz component unit test. So I wonder what if we can sort of. So the easy thing to do, the thing I kind of want to do is just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, write a unit test for this for me. But I kind of want to come in here and try to figure this out on my own. So we have this concept of a fixture over here, and we create an app component. See, this is probably the one that actually ends up, I don't know, maybe not. So we create a test component, which is, so we bring in the component, and then we create a test component. And then, so we do this at components, which we bring in the code for that from Angular core. Angular core. Okay, so let me hit this back button, try to get back to where we were at. And now viz component render. See, because viz component needs to have a render view child with a native element. There, component from Angular core. Okay, now let's see. So what I'm trying to do, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but what I'm going to try to do is take this guy and create this. Now my problem is I don't know exactly where that comes from. From over here, I mean, I could figure it out, but I'm hoping that the tool will just. And I guess we need this because that's a decorator that's decorating this thing called test host component. Okay, now I think I can go straight back to where it was. Okay, let me go back. So that happens before we do any describes or anything. So right here. Now I'm hoping that it can figure out the import for me. Yeah, looks like right there. Viz component. I don't know where I want that. I think there's good. Okay. So then I think in this, I don't think I want to create a viz component before each of these, because I think I only want to run that here. I don't know if I can just run it here or not. I think I can. I think anything you could run before each, I think you can run in there too. Configure testing module. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Testbed. Oh, input. Oh, well, no, I probably do I do this testbed configure testing module? Don't remember. I don't think so. Oh, I do. Okay, so I need to actually modify this a little bit so that I can get access to my component. Okay, so I want to add this. I don't think I need to do any declarations. Now the question is, I guess I need this one, this fixture. So let's go ahead and go back to there. And I'm a bit like I'm like trying to kind of understand what's going on. And I feel like if I were to okay, what is problem with the component fixture? If I were to like sort of just ask ChatGPT at this point, hey, can you help me out with this? It would be a freaking encyclopedia of information. I would never be able to figure out what was going on. And I am sensitive to the fact that somebody is waiting on this code. So, if I can't, like I said, if I can't finish, if I kind of run into a brick wall, and I'll just create another branch and push that out there for my buddy. Buddy. Okay. So fixture, where is fixture? Oh, component fixture is the thing. Okay, so I need to bring component fixture over from testing. Right, right, my friend, right. Boom. Nope, not from Angular core, from component testing. So I think over on that other one I have it reversed. So let me do that. Some people just like, they create this meta score, and if things aren't in sync between different files, like then they are like, oh, they start getting very suspicious. So I always find life to be a lot easier when you should not have saved. Um, so let's go back to our viz component spec. Yeah, see over there I did core first, testing second. So let's see. So now I've got my test house component. Okay, so and then this line of code should work for me now. I think I can go back. I have to go back twice. Okay, yeah, so this is what it was complaining about before, and now I need to get my fixture, and I think the way I get my fixture is by importing it here, I believe. And I am like learning how this works right now. That's what's happening, and I've done this enough times that I'm fairly confident that at the end of this I will understand how it works. But I probably won't get really have it like sort of solidified until later tonight or maybe tomorrow morning or something like that. I'm going to need some time to sort of let it percolate, and that's the thing that people just don't want to do. Okay, so this, and then I think I need to add this little compile components afterwards, and I don't think that declaration is necessary. It's kind of nice that it's broken because now it's red, so it's easy to find. Right here. And then dot compile components. And let's go find what was broken. Should be red down here. We'll just comment that out for the moment. Okay, so nothing is broken now. So now I think we have our fixture. Is that right? Our fixture, component fixture. I don't know if we have to do anything else to be able to use the fixture. Test component, fixture. Oop, wrong one, viz component spec. So now my back won't work. Okay, so yeah, once we did that, then, oh, and it looks like we want to, this is where we end up creating the actual fixture. So at this point, so if before this is done, then the fixture is undefined. And then this is what actually makes the fixture become something. So it looks like, I guess, well, so I guess I could do this in the it itself, but I guess it makes sense to do it in the before each. that means every, I'm going to run this for every one of the tests, which, I don't know how long that takes. And that might actually, if we get like thousands of tests in there, might actually expect time. And actually, most tests don't need it. So I guess we should, well, okay, let's see if we can get it working like this. And then hopefully I can remember to go and try to move these two lines of code into the it. Now, man, that's a tough one because if I was working in a commercial, if this was if this was enterprise code that I was working with other people, I would definitely have a lot of mixed feelings about whether I should bring it down here because like let's say this is literally the only, let's say this thing blew up into 1,000 specs, which I've seen happen before, and you have 1,000 specs and only one of them needs this, like you will slow this unit test suite a lot. But if you, but the thing is like, let's say 90% of the specs needed anyways, then you just really put a lot of work on your fellow employees, your fellow coders, because honestly, most people aren't going to try to understand this to this level. So I don't know, but let's see if we can get it working here first. So, man, the last one ended. I thought we were like smooth sailing, and then the last one ended up being quite the challenge. Okay, so I think this is fine. I hate how it takes a little bit because I was like, oh, okay, I'm good, and then all of a sudden, like, it didn't finish. It hadn't finished yet, and then it's like, oh crap, I got to go through the stress of that. So I think a fixture is now a viz component, right? Test host component. Our test host component is in fact, I don't know. Let me look at this one last time. So now, oh, viz component. Okay. Oh, so this is our viz component. Fixture is a test component, and then yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that is in fact a viz component. It is weird. I don't like it because this is sort of your classic example of this one line of code. If you try to convert that into sort of English language, is probably 3 paragraphs of explanation. Let's try that. Can you explain? Explain. Now you could say var a equals 1, and it would probably have a paragraph of things. So just the fact that this puts out a bunch of stuff is that. But see, like that, just you have to understand what a fixture is, and then that is like a whole paragraph into itself, and then debug element is like a sentence, and then fixture debug children. Okay, so that's not too bad. I think anybody who's been coding for, more than a few months probably understands an array. In simple terms, okay, this line is getting the first child of code inside and tested code. Um, so now let's come back here. So over here, there's no information that would let you know that this is in fact a viz component. And how would you know that this thing right here has a viz component inside of it? And it's because of this app viz. and then app viz ties to viz. So there is really like a very roundabout connection to viz component and this thing, but it is there. It's like not you. There's no way you can get there unless you go look in the viz component itself and see that the selector for viz component is app viz. So if we go here, go to definition, then we see that app viz is tied to viz component. This is the place where that linkage happens. All right. So that is in fact a viz component. Keep on going. Did I copy that over here? Okay. So now I think we may have to actually, I wonder if we'll probably have to strongly type this. And I'm not 100% sure this is even going to work. So it did know that. I probably would want to do this. Just for my own, like, so if you said string, oh, that's crazy. So I thought maybe the transpiler or the IDE was doing some sort of an analysis. All right, so what happens now? See if that works. So I think that worked without breaking anything. I don't know. It's been a bit. Kind of seems like it should have ran a bunch of this stuff now. Oh, oh, mama, we did it. We did it. 100%. Perfect score. Our parents will be so proud. Woo woo. So it is good feeling. That's a very, very good feeling. I know I'm being kind of facetious. I'm a bit bitter about the American education, public education system. I don't know. I don't know about that. There's, I learned a lot of good stuff there, but I freaking spent a lifetime undoing a lot of the freaking damage that they did. So, I don't know. I don't know if it was worth it or not. So, what are we going to test? I wonder what the visualization ID is. Because that was kind of one of our things was like we created a renderer ID. So one of the easiest ways to test that would be expect visualization ID dot to equal, I don't know, I'm just going to say 1. This is not going to be a test. This is not the test. I'm just curious if it is 1. It should, I think it's going to be 1. That's my guess. Now the question is if I pull in my, so I think it happened, right? Because I was having this visual, yeah, so now if we pull this guy in, let's get our recyclable service. Let's just copy this line of code and hope that it will do the import for us. Although I guess they're in the same directory, so this will work. We can just do this. I'm just holding the cap locks down, not the shift. So I can come up here. And I actually do think this is important to do because like that 100 is a bit sloppy. If we were to ever really build these out, that number could, and we put like that number could get, we could end up with 100 as our ID. And so this, just for future proofing, it's probably not a good idea to do. what I was doing there. Okay, so then I want to do something along these lines. And the only reason I think I ended up making these private here, if I remember correctly, was because I did, like, if you're gonna use the recyclable service, you probably need to you definitely need to use your own instance of it. Don't use the instance of this one. Now, and then a big reason I'm doing this, probably the biggest reason I'm doing this, is because I want to understand I want to understand if these are sharing the same. So if these are not, if these are sharing the same instance, so it's supposed to be a singleton, which means that there's only one instance of it that they're all sharing together. There's a single one of them, as opposed to all of them getting their own version. And if it is in fact a singleton, then when I create my other thing, which is, I can't remember what it is. When I create this guy, renderer ID, they shouldn't, if they aren't, if so, if it creates its own version, it doesn't use the same version of the recyclable sequence, then they'll both be one and we'll have a collision, which I don't even think it's a problem to have a collision at this point, but we probably don't want that. That is not how this system is designed. But so if they both end up being one, then, you know, that's a little bit, that's sort of, this is like sort of that opportunity to level up and understand the inner workings of something better than the average bear. So that is what that's all about. So basically I want to do this recyclable service generate ID. And then so this would be bad. Visualization ID be equal to render ID. I hope they're not equal. So I'm hoping to have a failure. Hopefully it says like one. Yep. Yes. Okay, so yes. So they both are singleton, which is what I thought. That is honestly to not that is honestly not like I that is expected. I think that's expected, and I think this is actually a very good test. Now, technically, we're kind of testing the the unit test framework by doing this, but you know, but technically, we are also getting 100%. Now, we're not really testing that the visualization happened or anything, but I guess we should. I can't remember to not equal. And I guess we want the is there a get visualization by ID? We have a get visualization IDs, but not a get visualization by IDs. Okay, so basically, I guess we should check. Render service, no, service dot get visualization by IDs dot length. to be greater than 0. So basically we're saying there should be an ID in the service. And I think we're done. All right, so now we just undo this. Okay, so that I feel a lot better because, yeah, I'll definitely be pushing this code out into the getting started branch shortly. So then I'll be able to go and tell my buddy. I wonder what he's using it for. I wonder if it's like a school project or like for work, or if he's trying to debug something. And he's like, okay, how did you get that working? It would be so fun to know what that's all about. Um, or maybe he's just following along and it's just curiosity. There's just no talent, but this is cool stuff though. And so let's see, did they all run? Or do I need to rerun? Nope. We got 100%. Every individual suite covers 100% of its stuff. Not every sort of test is like actually like in the spirit of the testing things, like we just achieved 100% and didn't really do a whole lot of deep analysis that, okay, so now we know this is going to happen and all that. I do think that like we did a pretty good job. Like so I worked at Boeing, my very first job, and I was a systems engineer. I wasn't a programmer. I used to have to write specifications for code. That was my first job. It was a great first job. I mean, just a really, really good first job. Almost everybody that I worked with was either an electrical engineer or was a pilot, had been a pilot in the war in Vietnam. Um, and and man, those pilots were just like a crazy bunch. And my boss was a pilot. He had actually gone to the Air Force Academy, and he had been I want to say an '06 or an '07. I believe it was a colonel in the Air Force, and he was one of the only ones that didn't go to Vietnam. He actually had to fly a jet that, and basically every day that he flew along the airline between Russia and the United States up in Alaska. And he would just like literally take, I believe it was an F-16, ride along that line. And then he would be like, he said that it's so dark. And he goes, you're flying like so fast. And you would do that at night. And it was just like, if there was something out there, you're going to hit it. He's like, it's so terrifying. He's like, yeah, there's radar, but there are sometimes things out there that like the radar doesn't catch or whatever. And, like every once in a while, somebody will hit something while they're going so fast and have a close call or whatever. But yeah, so everybody I worked with, and we wrote specs. But the thing is a few years before that, there had been a terrible, terrible tragedy because a plane was lost and the entire crew was lost, and it was because of a software bug. And it was a very stupid software bug that like basically got all these guys killed. And I'm pretty sure that I had been told, at the time I was told that it was not like the bug itself, the description and all that was classified. So I probably, even though it's been 30 some years and the entire fleet of those planes is retired, probably not in anybody's best interest to understand the bug. But the thing is, there was a very simple bug that should have been caught at every level. And it killed a bunch of people, and their pictures were up, and everyone knew their families, and it was so sad. They literally moved like the entire place to a different place, like where they had been doing all the work got moved, and so that the Air Force could keep a closer eye on them. There's very, very bad situation. But so they had this concept that was called the SEI level, and basically there was like SEI level 1, and then there was SEI level 5, and 5 was the best, 1 was worse. So 1 is complete chaos. you're writing code, no one really knows what's going on. You get code out there, no one's sure how it got out there. You just builds are happening, things are getting FTP'd. No one really knows. It's complete chaos. And in five, one of the things about five is that you recognize bugs before they happen. So like you're like, oh shoot, okay, so in 2 years when this changes that way and that changes that way, there's going to be a bug here. Like you can predict future bugs because things, and we did actually do that a few times during this effort, right? When this unit testing effort, we actually predicted bugs that were going to happen in the future. And the thing is there's really nothing we can do about them now. And so I do think that we got a really high level of reliability out of this application. And it's in a really, really good place to build forward. It was really slow. And they had said at the time that like 3 companies had achieved SCI level 5, and all 3 of them went out of business because they were just so slow. They, they were insanely reliable, but like could not. There was no. There was no. They're very, very reliable, but there was like it wasn't practical. The cost. So we were SCI level 3, which was kind of the minimum you had to be if you for us to be able to actually continue to write software for the platform. And the SCI level 3 was like I when I got there we were SCI level 2, and then we went to 3, and it was so much better. So I would say that this is like this effort that I'm doing. Oh, so at SCI level 3, the point I wanted to make was, so I had this where I wrote specifications for basically there was like they had a keyboard on the airplanes, and they wanted whatever the shifted value was of some behavior to be the unshifted value, and the unshifted to be the shifted. And the shifted value of the system, I mean, that was 2 lines of code. Like there was literally, oh, okay, the keyboard reads what to do in this array. And so you took one thing from one and flopped it. And they were like, okay, how much is that going to cost? How much did that cost? They're like, this is a perfect one because we know that we're just changing 2 lines of code. We're swapping 2 lines of code. So this is probably like as absolute cheap as the cheapest software effort you can possibly do in this system. And they had come up with, and this is in 1996. So, 96 money was worth a lot more than it is now. Like in the house that I live in right now, I believe the government says it's worth like $300,000. And in 2000, we bought it for 125. I believe in 1996, this house sold for like $70,000. So, like the dollar has become much, much less valuable since 1996. And it cost $70,000. The whole per line. And that was 2 lines. So that effort cost. So to change 1 line of code to exactly what you want it to be in the SCI level 3, it was $70,000 a line. That's how much it cost, so that you could have the kind of reliability that they need in that so that planes don't get blown up and crews aren't lost. Writing code is extraordinarily expensive, and the more reliable you need it to be, the price goes up exponentially for super reliable code. So that is like, that's just a reality that nobody seems to want to face up to. I mean, I don't know. I think as a society, as a industry, we've gotten into some really weird ideas, and everyone thinks that you could just do agile, you can just do this, and you can drive the prices down, and we'll add accelerators and just all kinds of weird stuff like that. And honestly, I don't know anyone who thinks that software works very well right now. Like I remember when people used to get in trouble for like literally like, oh, the credit cards didn't work for 15 minutes because of some weird thing that happens at some time on daylight savings, and people would get in a lot of trouble. Now I've literally gone to Home Depot where they've been like, oh yeah, no, we haven't been able to accept credit cards for 3 days because of a bug. Oh, I went to we have this place called BJ's to get gas, and they're like, oh yeah, we can only accept cash because there's a bug, and that's all. And both of them were like every Home Depot in the United States wasn't able to accept credit cards. I know of a $1 billion bug that got out, and I know that I'm very good friends with the person whose wife was on the QA team that let that bug through. That cost $1 billion to Delta. So like the the code we're writing in the United States right now is garbage, and probably in the world, not just the United States. And until we get across whatever these weird ideas that all these people have, it's going to continue to be garbage. And that is what I think. So what's next? Okay, so the next thing is to go, let's go to our packages and run our Cypress test. And our Cypress test should work. I'm going to close everything else up, those others, and then pm site. It's been a while. I think we want to do Cypress run, but maybe it's Cypress open. So the next feature is going to be resizing. So, and dynamic resizing of the screen. And the main reason I'm doing it now is because I was like, in the last effort that we did, last year's ThreeJS effort, I was always like, I'll have that done. It was so effing annoying that I never got that done. And it just would bother me every single time. So let's see. I remember correctly, this is a bit of a, oh no. Oh, npm run Cypress run. Bah, 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 bah. I think when I do make my first Cypress video, I think I definitely want to put music on it, but I don't know what the legal ramifications of that are. So this is kind of something that happens, when you go a long time without using something. So GitHub wants to do something with Cypress. I have no idea. And I'm guaranteed that show more was absolutely useless. So maybe I wanted to do open. Because it looks like, oh, so that ran headless. But all specs passed, so that's good. Open. I think this Cypress thing is, well, one thing I can say about this Cypress thing is that, like, I really, 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 really wanted to, I mean, I wasn't completely sold on Electron until I saw this Cypress effort, and this is freaking amazing. This whole thing is Electron. I don't know what that's about, but so it took over my whole screen, the whole darn screen. I got an enormous monitor, and it took over. So I have two specs. For some reason, I thought I could run them both. Wow, 4 months ago when I first created the. So that is good, and notice the size. So yeah, so this would be something like this where it ends up resizing. Now, I don't really quite understand why we have the bars. I don't think we get the bars. We don't get the bars, right? We don't get the bars in the real application. So that's probably something Cypress specific. Okay, so we have our home, and then so these are our specs. Okay, so now let's run our viz spec. Okay, so yeah, they work. I don't really like the fact that we have these bars here. I don't know why they're there. But I don't think we're setting the width, so that's probably something that you can do. Um, and then I'm guessing that the bars are something specific to Cypress. And it looks like this kind of tells me report determines the height and width. Report will be 1,000 px by, yeah. So why it adds these, I don't know. And you know, I guess that's a good question for ChatGPT. ChatGPT. So now, like part of me, like so, I've been, I would have to say, pretty successful in my career. But you know, I've definitely had some bad outcomes, and but one of the things I think has led to my success, and probably to some of my bad outcomes, is like right now I am consciously aware that somebody's waiting on my code right now. So if it was professional, I wouldn't be like, okay, now let me go ask ChatGPT this. But but like honestly, the whole point of this is to learn. So running a Cypress suite our test spec, and the viewport has resize bars, scroll bars. Don't they don't look good. Good. Is there a to prevent scroll bars? Let's see if this is a general issue. Oh man, and it's so funny because I remember clear as day in 1998, everyone saying iframes are dead, they're deprecated, they're not going to be around, don't use them. But the browsers, and I think even a few browsers disabled them for a while, where you just could not iframe things because of all the security issues. They're still around. Yeah, so I probably will do something like this. I would imagine that's important because I don't want that. I think it looks like crap. I think it triggers a lot of people. So yeah, before each, I'll probably have it just hide scroll bars. Now, or the problem is okay. I want to hide those. Well, okay. So I'm using. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think hiding the scroll bars at least for these early ones. I really just want to hide this one. I think. I don't think I want to hide the vertical one because that is actually the vertical size. Um, but basically, it wants me to do something along these lines. Inspect. Oh, that's neat. So it did get smaller, but it scaled it down. That's pretty cool. Um, let's see. What was that code that ChatGPT wanted to give me? So at the body level, nah, that didn't work. I don't even know. It added some weird line down here. This is on the body, right? Yeah. Anyway, so that didn't work. Popper. So that's for this whole thing. So I guess I turned off the, and then this is mine. And there's an iframe in here somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, so Cypress still works. Obviously, I could, when I do make my video, I could use OBS to only focus on the part that I want it to focus. Like I could have it do that. But anyways, so there'll be things to do, I guess. Yeah, let's go ahead, and the next step is, I probably would have waited till tomorrow, but like I said, somebody is in fact waiting on this code, so I should. Okay, first thing I want to do is kill my Cypress. Kill Cypress. It's a bit of a distraction. And then we want to go through the code, and basically first thing I want to do is just look to make sure I don't have any console logs anywhere in this application that I don't want. Okay, so that was their console log. I've been leaving that one. Okay, and then we sort of want to just do a 30,000 foot sort of smell test look over. Okay, boom, boom. Oh yeah, see, this is so much better. Better. I love it. And this is our unit test. Looks good. App. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as bad. I can't wait till this stuff's gone. And so now I'm gonna do resize, and then after that I'm gonna do resize, and then after that I'm gonna do where you can add and delete, and so that all of those will be gone. Now, well, okay, yeah, those will be gone, but I guess when we add them, I don't want to lose animation, so I guess we'll have to have some sort of special code for that. That will just sort of give animations based on something. That looks good. I guess that's brand new. He's brand new. Do I want that one? I don't think this should be here. They are in the meshes. Don't require. So that was a comma. What is that all about? So we're an ST renderer. I mean, does it break if I remove it? I didn't care. Everything seems to work. Just restart everything. So it looks like I was sort of floundering at that point, and then I couldn't quite wrap my head around things, I'm assuming, and that cache is formatting. Those were good comments. Oh, these are unit tests. Unit tests I just don't even look hardly at in this environment. It looks like we don't need this guy. I love you too. Let's see. I love you too. Unit tests. Unit tests. Did a lot of unit testing in this iteration. Unit test. That's what we call a sprint where I work, an iteration. This isn't quite a sprint. It's maybe the opposite of a sprint. And I genuinely have no idea. Like I want to say, oh, I could have had all this done in 3 days or 5 days. I don't have the vaguest idea how long it would have taken me. It might have taken longer, or maybe I would have made mistakes that I didn't make because we were moving so slow. All right, so that is done. So then the next thing is to say git status. And git add dot git status. So I just added everything. I love being able to add everything. To me, it's always sort of an anti-pattern if you have things. Oh no, don't check this in because it won't work in production or whatever. Does not have to be that way. There are some people who work their entire career that way, and that's how they've always seen it. But there are places where that is not ever the issue. Git commit -m, and then this is, I can't even remember. This was basically visualization, right? Implements the visualization because there's, yes, what are these? Renamed, added. Yeah. See, visualizations and hash service were added in the implements. The visualizations concept. Git push. And there are, oh man, oh no, my phone is on me. There are like literally days where I would probably never get on my phone if I didn't have to get onto my phone. Like I have not turned on my phone today. And I feel like I would be a lot mentally healthier if there was, like if I, oh no, unable to access. That happens from time to time. Like if there were, like if I could go like a week without ever opening my phone, but like I have to have my phone on to log into work. And not only that, but it seems to want to log me out. We use this third-party software, and if I even turn my phone off, it will log me out. So that's kind of a pain. But see, now I'm logged in. Now I'm gonna look at I see that I have some comment or some text from people. And it is funny because I don't get a lot of texts. And so it'll say I have text when I don't have any text. And I'm pretty sure those are texts that are, oh no, I do this one. So I get them very rarely, and I think I'm unusual that way. So I'll get a lot of times where it tells me I have texts, and then I don't have any. I'm pretty sure those are spams that come in, and then after they've been, the Verizon determines these are spams, and then they remove them. But because like if you get a spam and then you mark it as spam, it removes it from other people's phones. So it's a very kind thing to do, is if you get spam, to mark it as spam. Okay, so now I have pushed it. So I want to go to GitHub. I don't think there's anything particularly dangerous about going to GitHub on. I'm just going to leave that as is, and then I don't think that's this one, right? I think it's, well, maybe it is. I don't think it's Showtime. What was this one? Space and time. Space and time. So it's weird I didn't have to log in at all. So I want my branch. I'm not ready to merge it yet. So I want to see my branch. Okay, that I would love to keep that up, but it is annoying. Two branches. Getting started. I don't know. So what do I get if I copy that? I'm curious. Control V. Oh, Control V. Oh, okay, that's lame. What if I click on this? I wonder if I can just give that guy this link. All right, let's go to my YouTube. Remove that filter. It took me a little while. Reply. Tranquility enthusiast. Hey, T. I just pushed my latest code. Code 2. Reply. And I have my good deed done for the day. Let's see about my buddy Tranquility Smith. This dude looks like a nice guy. He's got 2 subscribers and 1 video. Empower your knowledge. 28 views from 2 years ago. So looks like a very nice person. I hope you enjoy the code. I hope it does something good for you. Anyways, everybody, I'm feeling good. I feel good about that. Anytime you can help somebody, is a good thing. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.